Hi, this is Dave Palmer. This is St. Thomas Aquinas for Everyone, and today we are going to be talking about the photosynthesis process and trees again, so welcome. So what would you do if you were hungry? If you wanted to go out and get food, you'd go to a restaurant or a store or something like that, right? Have you ever wondered how things in nature feed themselves? You know how dogs feed themselves, or cats feed themselves, or probably snakes, they eat mice and things like that. Have you ever wondered how does a tree feed itself? Well, this is what we're going to be talking about on this segment of St. Thomas Aquinas for Everyone. The key word that we got to learn about during this whole talk and lesson is photosynthesis. Photo means light, synthesis means to bring together, and basically this is the way that a tree or a plant feeds itself. It makes basically sugar because that's the food for plants and trees. And one thing to get straight before we get too much into this is that there's two different kinds of trees. You have trees like this, which are called evergreen. The evergreen trees have leaves all throughout the year. They never shed their leaves. The key thing to understand also is that the leaves are the part of the tree where the food is made for the tree. Over here, this whole section, these are called deciduous trees. You can see that since we're doing this in February, all the leaves have fallen off, which means that you ask yourself, well, if they don't have leaves, and the leaves are where they make their food, how does a deciduous tree stay alive during the winter? All right, the easy part is when we're talking about evergreen trees, because they have the leaves, and what happens during the photosynthesis process is the tree takes in light through the leaves, right? And then it also takes in water through the roots below because of the rain, and it also has to take in carbon dioxide. Where does this carbon dioxide come from? From you and me. When we exhale, carbon dioxide comes out of our bodies, right? Did this just kind of happen? No, the tree doesn't know what it's doing. God has ordained all of this. It's a process that God has put together. So the evergreen trees are pretty obvious. They have leaves and they go through this whole process, take in water, take in light, take in carbon dioxide. They feed themselves through the leaves. They stay nice and healthy. And they also, after they're finished, they push out oxygen. And who needs the oxygen? We do, right? We need the oxygen to breathe. So the evergreen trees like this one right here, they've got it made because 12 months of the year, every week of the year, they've got leaves, they feed themselves, and they're just hunky-dory, right? But what about the deciduous trees that don't have leaves for 3, 4, sometimes 5 months of the year? How do they feed themselves? I'll tell you right after this. All right, this is where it gets really interesting because, as we know, the leaves are the part of the tree that feeds the tree, right? They do the whole photosynthesis process. But the deciduous trees here don't have any leaves for about 4 or 5 months of the year, depending on where you live. But what happens is during the time of the year when they do have leaves, they feed the tree, they make that whole photosynthesis process happen, and they feed themselves. But during the winter, well, during the fall, the leaves fall, and they no longer have a way to feed themselves. But you know what they do? They go into dormancy. It's kind of like a snake that hibernates for 3 months, right? The snake doesn't eat the whole time. They've stored up food in its body. Bears do the same thing. They go into hibernation. Why? Because that's how God made them. That is in their nature to hibernate or to go dormant. So these trees right here have no leaves. They have no way of feeding themselves right now during the winter. But what they've done is they have stored all of their food down in the roots of the tree so that the way God made them in their nature, they're able to survive through the dormant, cold winter months. And then when spring comes, they're going to develop leaves again and they're going to start feeding themselves and get back into the normal routine of the photosynthesis process. Now, if you go most places on YouTube, you're going to see this process described, but it's never said who ordained this process, okay? These trees don't know what they're doing. They can't do this on their own. It's a good God who ordained this process, and that's why when we're out and we see things like trees, when we learn about the photosynthesis process, we have it to bring it back to its cause, and it's a good God that allowed these trees to live and also provide the oxygen that we need to breathe. Thanks for watching this edition of St. Thomas Aquinas for Everyone. We've been talking about the photosynthesis process, and remember, it all ties back to a loving, creating God. And I do want to thank my editor and videographer, Maura, my dear 9-year-old daughter, who's putting this all together. So if you like it, subscribe and like it, and Maura's doing an excellent job. Thanks, we'll see you next time.